Hello, Gold Derbiites. Welcome back to another edition of Awards Magnet. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter, joined by our stellar film team, Senior Editors Mia McNeese and Kevin Sullivan. This week, we're going to have a bit of a grab bag episode because there's a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend and a lot of stuff to look forward to this weekend. So we're going to talk through a few different things, starting with the DGA Awards, which happened over the weekend. This is the first of the big Guild Awards that are going to be rolling out over the next few weeks and really give us a sense of where the Academy membership is thinking in terms of what they're voting for, what their preferences are, and give us a few more tea leaves to help read. Because even though the tea leaves so far have favored one battle after another, and certainly after the DGA over the weekend, they continue to, because Paul Thomas Anderson took home the DGA prize for Best Director that night. Again, continuing one battle on its path towards Best Picture, which Kevin called way back when, and he's getting closer and closer and closer to achieving that shot call way back. So congratulations, Kevin. Only a few more weeks left.
The whole award season is just about me saving face at this point. I'm trying not to eat any crow. Don't ruin this for me, Academy.
We got to make sure that pays off after all this time.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So PTA won. He's now that puts one battle on the guild board with many more still to come. Sinners, though, is going to have is going to presumably win some of these guild awards too. It was very popular with the guilds, from all the below the line to the actors. So there is still that hope. But I think it's a good time to sort of take a look at the Best Director race, which we haven't had a chance to talk about so much in our recent Oscar predictions. So I think across the board it feels like we're predicting Paul Thomas Anderson at this point. Mia, do you see any reason to jump PTA ship at this point?
No, I mean, the DGA Feature Film Award is the Oscars' kind of most reliable predictor. I think, we wrote it was 21 out of the 25 times they get a pretty good score matchup of who wins the DGA goes on to win the Oscar. And so with PTA winning, it's a really, really, really solidifies his chances of getting the Best Director Oscar, as, Sean Baker did, Christopher Nolan, Chloe Zhao, like everybody that usually wins at the DGA, it's most likely they'll win at the Oscar. So that was a good night for Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, this definitely touches on one of the macro narratives of this award season, which is that the Oscars hate an overdue legend. Paul Thomas Anderson is from his kind of coming out of the indie scene in the 90s, has become synonymous with basically the role of directing. He's, one of a handful of people we think of as basically the proto director still working in Hollywood who can get an eccentric, expensive passion project made, and he is without an Oscar. And so that would be a really powerful narrative in and of itself, but we also have the movie he directed being this big Best Picture favorite. And yeah, I think the DGA win just really solidifies it. The Academy wants to give Best Director to Paul Thomas Anderson. It feels like it's righting a wrong. Like it is almost awards gravity at this point. He is one of the main directors working in Hollywood, and it feels like he should have that award right now.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, going back over his sort of career, he's been nominated 3 times before now. There Will Be Blood was his first nomination. Phantom Thread was after that. And then Licorice Pizza, which I always forget he got a Best Director nod for that. For some reason, I know it got some other nominations, so I forget that he was actually nominated for Best Director as well. I still feel like he should have been nominated for The Master. That's up there with There Will Be Blood for me as just one of his masterpieces. So if I could have given him an award already, it would have been for that one. Because you obviously have the Coen factor from There Will Be Blood. Choosing between There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men is one of those Sophie's choices that's very difficult to make. But certainly now One Battle is his most crowd pleasing. It's one of his, I think at this point it is his most commercially successful film that he's made. And so it marks a certain culmination of his journey to this point, I think, across his career.
Yeah, it really gives him that late season momentum on the way to the Oscars that, he kind of needs as voting starting. And like you said, been nominated before, but this is his first DGA. He could take a victory lap for it, as award, and this film in itself is just getting so many accolades. So this might be his year.
He found the right level of freak, I think, is what we're seeing here. You call it The Master, and a lovely film that is freaky as hell, and yeah, it strikes the right balance. Not to suggest that this was strategic at all, but this does make sense as the movie that would be really embraced by the Academy in a big way.
It's so funny. I recently went back and was just watching footage of the 1999 Oscars where he was up for Best Screenplay for Magnolia. And he was with Fiona Apple at that point. They were in the audience, and he just made this face at the camera when he lost to the American Beauty team that won for that. He just mugged the camera. And it's such a contrast to who he is now.
Oh, I got to see that.
Award shows. It's very, you should go, yeah, go back and watch it. It's very funny. He just makes this complete, like, young, like, young rebel filmmaker face. And now he's like the elder statesman. He's much more mature. He's thanking everyone. It's a really fun contrast to see how he's grown up in a lot of ways.
It's that I need to watch that. That's a fun comparison. There's a, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's an incredible behind the scenes documentary about all the making of Magnolia, and it's just this really kind of raw experiential footage, and you see how a person can grow, and how time can mellow a man. I love seeing him just at the luncheon, two fists on Guillermo del Toro's shoulders. He's really kind of settled into elder statesmanhood in a very graceful way. And this is, I think, a good. The timing is all right.
And then obviously the other people in the Best Director mix, Ryan Coogler, I think most people have him as the number 2. If there is an upset, it would most likely go to him. And then Chloe Zhao has won once before. She's at number 3. And then the Joaquin Trier and Josh Safdie are down at 4 and 5, respectively. So it really does come down to Coogler or Anderson at this point. I think everyone else is mostly not a factor in the race at this point. But in your mind, is there a scenario where Hamnet suddenly stages a surprise, or at least for director, and Chloe Zhao gets a second nomination, Mia?
No, I still think this is PTA. I mean, it's interesting too. The DGA and the Academy don't line up completely. You know, the DGA gave Guillermo a nomination, whereas he's and same with Josh Safdie as well. So they're not always perfectly aligned. But I don't see a huge upset. I mean, if anything, I think it would be Ryan, only because of the amount of nominations Sinners has received overall. But I think with this DGA award, it's Paul Thomas Anderson.
If you're going to talk about the kind of gravity that is leading, that is kind of guiding the conversation towards Paul Thomas Anderson as the obvious choice here, I think Ryan Coogler, you have someone who's very, very quickly established himself as someone in that vein, when that kind of model really doesn't exist anymore. And I think it is really impressive what he has done for himself, over the last 10 years, and built his career very much working within the Hollywood system, and kind of engaging with mainstream culture in a way that the wild child of the 90s didn't have to. I don't think this is his year. I think the momentum for Paul Thomas Anderson is too great, but Coogler is, if he isn't just like outright, the director of a Best Picture frontrunner at some point down the line, he's gonna have the same kind of weight around his name. He is someone who feels like he should have that award.
And he'll certainly walk away from the Oscars with one statue. I think most all of us are predicting that he's going to win Best Original Screenplay for Sinners. That seems to be the most likely, in addition to some other below the lines craft wins potentially, but Best Original Screenplay seems to mostly have his name written on it. The closest one I have as an upset would be Sentimental Value, based on the how strong that movie performed across the board in nominations. That's the only other one I could see. But I think this is Sinners to take. Do you agree, for both of you, Sinners still your number one in that category?
It's funny because when you bring up Sentimental Value, that was the other one too. I just can't. I was so surprised by just how many nominations that film got on Nomination Day. I mean, it's a great film, but I think even they were surprised about how many. So it really shows you where the voters' heads are, and how much support that film has. So yes, I do agree with Brian, still a little bit above, but I could see this being a little bit more of an upset.
My feeling with unoriginal screenplay is this is where we're going to see basically the direct fallout from how Best Director goes. Sinners is it is a stunning piece of writing. I mean, the way it synthesizes history and culture and popcorn cinema into something that is wholly original and approachable and wildly popular. Like, yes, it is something that is deserving of the award. But then you also have the factor of choosing Paul Thomas Anderson over Ryan Coogler in director, it's such an easy call to make. Well, we'll give him this one. I think that never having voted on the Academy Awards myself, that does kind of, I could empathize with that kind of thinking, where like it's a perfectly deserving winner in Best Original Screenplay, and for such a close race in director, you could do a happy split, and it is everyone gets a little guy.
One of my formative Oscar experiences was 1994 when Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump went head to head, and you had Forrest Gump basically winning everything: Best Picture, Best Director, and then Tarantino and Roger Avary win Best Original Screenplay. And I can't remember his Tarantino speech exactly, but it was almost the extent of like, oh, we're not winning anything else tonight. This is it. Like even they recognize like when you're the young person on the block coming up, that's your Oscar. This is your Oscar. You could take that, and eventually you'll get to Best Director, but you might be waiting for a little while before that happens.
You still have Oscar winner in front of your name, so there's plenty of still great things to be had by that.
Not bad work if you can get it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Over in the Best Adapted Screenplay category, I actually just and we'll see how this plays out with the BAFTAs. But knowing how popular Hamlet is as a British-made film, and seeing how that that performed there, I could see a potential upset brewing in that category over One Battle After Another. So right now I have that as I just elevated over One Battle. I may still switch it because we do have the BAFTAs coming up before the Oscars happen, and we'll also have the Writers Guild weigh in before that happens as well. But right now, I'm thinking that could be where Hamlet makes a mark, if anywhere. So how about yourselves? Do you have One Battle? Do you think PTA wins twice?
I think I've said this before too. Like, I think Hamlet, a script about the world's greatest writer, Shakespeare, and the words that are on that script. I think that you're right. I think they have a really good chance of winning that, and it could be the number one there, and I think rightfully so. I think it was, it's a beautiful script, and I think it could deserve that.
Yeah, it definitely is the script that does feel like you're written with a quill, and I think there is. I think the point you're making, though, that how these awards shake out, and how the lot is shared among these favorite films. It does seem like a spot where Hamlet could stand out. I think Jessie Buckley's likely win, as we look at the odds right now in Best Actress, could be that for Hamlet. I still have One Battle as winning. I think the love for PTA does kind of extend beyond the borders of Best Director, and it's a stunning piece of adaptation. I mean, if we're talking about a category, this is adapted from a Thomas Pynchon novel, Vineland, and really kind of taking it in its own way is kind of exemplary of what that word can mean, adapted. And I think it's a really, really compelling argument for someone who's already seen as a beloved figure who is overdue. So I think they're going to kind of overdo it. And really make sure that this guy walks home with some Academy Awards.
PTA, you will walk out just with a wheelbarrow, just pushing.
We're sorry.
He'll be the Seth Rogen of the Emmys. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting now. I mean, he's actually been nominated for Screenplay more than he's been nominated for Best Director. In addition to Magnolia, as we mentioned before, he was nominated for Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, Inherent Vice, and Licorice Pizza. So he has not won for any of those two. So it would be overdue for both director and screenplay for he to win both. You could even say that he's won screenplay once before, and so therefore it could go to Chloe Zhao or even Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. So yeah, no, he has that sort of overdue narrative in both categories. For sure.
Yeah, especially as someone who's like we were talking about, but prototypical as like the writer director. I think there's a sense that both hats need to be rewarded here.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and certainly one of the large errors, and this was sort of, I believe, on display when you went to the Oscar luncheon the other day. These Sinners in One Battle are both the sort of the clear front runners. They are both from one studio, Warner Brothers, and so there's been a lot of attention about how the studio is handling both of them. And whenever I've seen both crews at different events here in New York, everyone seems very friendly and they all get along. But obviously, people are looking for those cracks. But what was the general mood at the Oscar luncheon the other day? Did you just get the sense that everyone was just admiring of each other and happy to be in that room?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think those were the two biggest films, but I will tell you, after the lunch when it was over, there really was the Sinners actors, Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, they were really working the room. I mean, they're really campaigning hard for this. The one I didn't see any, one battle after another cast members kind of doing interviews post luncheon, and they've been doing a ton of stuff too. But you could really see like the Sinners, they're really working for this on this campaign trail and really proud of this film. Not that the one battle cast isn't, but they're definitely doing every single interview and everything they can to spread the word about this film and about their nomination and to kind of get the message out across. And that was one thing that really stuck out. I think I was after the awards luncheon. They were the cast that kind of were talking to all the outlets, shaking hands, going above and beyond kind of everything that they possibly could on the campaign trail on the way to the Oscars.
Because I think people are still hoping maybe there's that split. If Paul Thomas Anderson gets the best director and best screenplay, as we're talking about, maybe picture goes to the big hit crowd pleaser, Sinners and Coogler and that amazing cast. Maybe that's a split. Although it does sound from people on the ground at Gold Derby who've been at events, it sounds like that people are a little less certain that that's going to happen based on the horror movie element of Sinners, the sort of who's going to vote for that over the sort of big prestige play at the Oscars. So it's going to be interesting. If it does happen, it'll be a huge shock, I think, on Oscar night if Sinners winds up getting the best picture nod in a split.
I'm curious to see. I think the fact that it holds the record for the most nominations does feel significant. That's the fact that kind of has me questioning whether Sinners could pull it off. And it does make it still kind of an exciting race for me. I'm very curious to see.
Mia, what were some of the other takeaways you spotted at the luncheon? Any other fun moments or interactions you observed?
Well, it's all fun because everyone's a winner at the luncheon, right? So they're all, and it's so fun to just see all the different casts and people are meeting each other for the first time, even though they've been doing these awards and everything. And they're excited to see people. We spoke to Delroy Lindo, who I mentioned, who was just like basking in the glow at this point in his career to get an Oscar nomination. We spoke with Stellan Skarsgård, same thing. Like they are just kind of like soaking it all in. Like this is the kind of honeymoon period where everyone's a winner and you're all, and then they all line up and they take the class photo all together. So I think it's just a really exciting time. Everyone was very excited. Steven Spielberg was there. Like people from every different, category were like, oh, I saw Steven Spielberg and I saw this person and I saw that. So I think there's just like a lot of joy in the air around this time. As everyone's just kind of celebrating their film and that they're here and that they're nominated and that they get to kind of be amongst others in the craft that they love.
Yeah, Kevin, you speaking of Spielberg, you made you were writing the sort of analysis of the class photo that everyone took, and you definitely called out that Spielberg stuck close to the Hamnet crew and didn't venture off to where the other auteurs were standing. Is there anything significant in that for you that you thought that he's definitely sticking with the Zhao team?
Oh yeah, I like that. I mean, there was definitely like the cool kids section in front around Guillermo del Toro doing his best Jack Torrance from The Shining. I do want to see kind of like a slow black and white zoom in on that photo. We could do that. Maybe that's for my TikTok. But yeah, no, I like Spielberg in very respectable producer mode, and yeah, stick with Chloe Zhao. Come on, that's who it's who you came to the party with. That's right. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. I was hoping there was more dirt coming out of it. Like there was like some like Elle Fanning was like dragged out of there like in a rage or something. But it sounds like it was all very good natured.
What Oscar nomination luncheons do you go to, Kevin?
I don't know. I mean it's great. I'm glad everyone's getting along. But I'm not
spice here. Need some spice to this.
Something.
All right. Well, let's look ahead to this weekend because I know it's always hard to think about the 2027 Oscars when we haven't finished the 2026 Oscars yet. But we are witnessing the arrival of a potential awards contender in the form of Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights, which launches this weekend. It's expected to do very well at the box office. I think I'm the only one who's had a chance to see it yet. Do you both plan to see it? Are you going to try and get out this weekend to check it out in theaters?
I will be seeing it this weekend. Yes, I'm very excited. I was, curious what to hear what your feedback was on it, and yeah, I'm interested to see what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. It's been so interesting watching the reactions come out, and I feel like, instead of like a tomato meter, I think what people have been judging this movie on is, I'm gonna try to word this properly because I am in a workplace and this is a work podcast. Whether it's horny enough, is it like there's a meter of just like, is like the promise of that trailer, combining Emerald Fennel with Wuthering Heights, it seemed to promise a lot. And then I think what we're seeing at least in the reactions is this kind of disagreement of like, where is it landing? Does it thread the needle in the right way of like delivering on the promise? And so that's what I'm curious to hear from you, Ethan. Horny enough or not nearly?
I mean, first is you got the right freak, and now it's horny enough. I don't know what is happening with this podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna reel it back in.
Push this more and more in that direction where we get in trouble. Right, exactly.
I think we should all just talk about Hamnet and leave it at that. Yeah, it's safe.
Can the explicit icon on the podcast appear mid podcast? Oh, okay. But Ethan.
Now Ethan has to do a warning before this airs.
Yeah.
Like,
right, exactly. Just
subject matter might not be appropriate. Thanks to Kevin. Or just kidding.
It is a fair question, though, because, certainly, like, the reactions have varied in terms of does it go too far or not far enough. And, and Emerald Fennel is certainly a divisive filmmaker, so I'm not surprised that the reactions have been all over the place. My personal feeling, removed from the awards context of it all, is that I think it's the middle section feels like the most Emerald Fennel. Like that's the movie that you hire Fennel to make, where it does sort of tease, it does try and get a little more provocative. It does try and unveil this theme of sexual oppression that's very much on the page and put it front and center. And I think that's the stuff that the trailer is selling, and it does very well, and that both Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi lean into successfully as well. The stuff around it, I think, is a little doesn't quite work as well. The first act, I think, is a little slow. The third act tries to be tragic in a way that doesn't feel entirely earned, but that middle section really does play very well, and I'm excited to see. And it's a good movie to see with an audience that way, because you do get a wide variety of reactions to, say, a dog collar that winds up being involved, and how you respond to the use of said collar and leash is going to be very indicative, I think, of how you respond to the movie overall. But it is a fun movie to see. It's a fun movie to talk about. I definitely encourage people just to go experience it, because it feels like the first movie of this year that really will inspire a lot of conversation, both pro and con, afterwards.
People certainly seem to have almost their knives out for it. I think kind of heading into it, it has been kind of this lightning rod. What is your history with Wuthering Heights as a story? Do you know the book? Have you seen adaptations before? Or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I read the book. I would have read the book in high school. I definitely have seen the 1939 version ages ago. I'm sure in film school or one of those other classes. And that's a very stately adaptation where, again, the repression is below the surface, and this puts it more front and center. I do think that she's being a little unfairly criticized for not adapting elements of the book that other people haven't adapted before. As some people have complained, she doesn't do the second half of the book where you see sort of the children of Heathcliff and Kathy. That part's not part of the movie, but it's not been a part of any of the other movies. So I don't know that it's necessarily fair to ding her for that. My favorite Wuthering Heights adaptation is still the Andrea Arnold version from 2011, which is this very sort of elemental shot on the moors of Scotland movie that's very much an Andrea Arnold style, who I really love as a filmmaker. Fish Tank is a terrific film, and it's very much in that mold. So that's been the most successful version of it for me. But I think this one, it's fun to see how artificial she goes and how heightened she goes. And I do think there's something to the idea of teasing out all this stuff that you can see in the book, and just putting it front and center, I think. But it's also, I get why people who really embrace what makes the book are sort of like, no, that has to be subtext. It can't be textual. But yeah, but that's what.
Oh my gosh, again, you guys, it's Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. Like, go read the book if you're that uptight about it. Like, geez, just enjoy the film.
Exactly. No, and then
someone who hasn't seen the film yet is saying, but I mean, come on, like, oh, if we're gonna be nitpicky about this and that in the book, like, just read the book then, people. Yeah,
exactly. No.
This is more for entertainment and for fun.
And to their credit, Elordi and Robbie basically know exactly what they're doing. Like you can see, they know what the audience wants from them, and they deliver it. So, but to that point, I don't see either of them really factoring in to the awards races as a result. I think their performances are sort of big and heightened in a very specific way, and not really awards friendly, which is fine. And same with the rest of the cast. I think if anything, this is sort of hangs around as a technical thing with either the production design. There's some amazing sets. There's some terrific costumes. Fennel reunited with her Saltburn collaborators for this, and so to see them working again together in that setting is a lot of fun in the period setting. If it does wind up getting any Oscar recognition down the line, it'll be there and as a crafts play as opposed to sort of an above the line play.
Yeah, I think the Valentine's Day release date's a little bit telling in terms of how they're thinking award strategy. But yeah, that's we still got a month for last year's Oscars.
Right. No, it's true. And the last movie that really did that hung around that long was Silence of the Lambs, which amazingly was released over Valentine's Day weekend in 1991. And it's crazy.
Well, obviously.
Thought that was a Valentine's Day movie, but hey, it worked out in their favor. So, you never say it can't work.
Yeah, I think the world moves too quickly these days for anyone to really hold on to a February movie. I mean, there's just so much coming at us all the time. To stay in the conversation that long would be shocking to me. Yeah.
It did send me down the rabbit hole of what Margot Robbie has been nominated for before, and she has 3 acting nominations. I, Tonya was the first one, and then supporting actress for Bombshell, and then those are the only 2 acting, and then she was nominated as a producer for Barbie, which is interesting. I think if I had given her a statue already, it probably would have been for Wolf of Wall Street, her sort of breakthrough role, and she's great in that movie. It's very much a Sharon Stone in Casino performance or a Lauren Bracco in Goodfellas performance from Martin Scorsese. So that's the one I would probably think of as Oscar-worthy, what she's done so far. Do either of you have a favorite Robbie performance that you'd give her a statue for if you could?
Oh, I would pick I, Tonya. I don't think you can top that. I mean, the film was so centered on her, and she did such an amazing job. And I feel like that was really kind of her moment where you're like, wow, who is this? What is she doing? It was just such an unforgettable performance. I mean, Allison Janney in that too, if we're going to go down that rabbit hole, was amazing in it. But I think out of all of her performances, it would be for that one.
Wolf of Wall Street stands out for me. It's basically as much of a Star is Born role as you can possibly get. I know she'd been around before then, but to show up the way she does in that role, a Scorsese movie, was really kind of an announcement of a star, and I think she's really kind of delivered on that. So I do kind of like that as a win for her. But yeah, I think her Barbie work is was really impressive, and she was instrumental in putting that together. So it was good to see her get the Best Picture nomination. We know obviously Hillary Clinton weighed in on the snub when she didn't get Best Actress. We all remember that. I think about that all the time, so we know where Hillary Clinton stands on that. But that is, she's really kind of made a very, very interesting career for herself.
And she'll win an Oscar one day. I do like there is one in her future. Yeah, and it's just a question of when do the stars line up for her and what project? It won't be Wuthering Heights, but there is one coming down the line. There'll be a project that she oversees and gets that role.
I totally agree. I think she will have her day in the sun, but yeah, it's probably not going to be for Wuthering Heights.
I mean, she's also really have become a really powerful producer. So and seemingly have a very good eye for talent, or good material. So a future Best Picture nomination also seems quite likely.
Yeah, absolutely. Which would be great. I mean, if she won for Best Picture before she won for Best Actress, that would be really interesting. I would almost root for that to happen. All right. The other big thing happening this weekend are the Indie Spirit Awards, the stripped down, low budget version of the Oscars. And so we have those in our prediction center. We're not going to run through all of them because not all of us have seen all of the movies. I mean, not everyone watching the show has actually seen all the movies. There's a lot of smaller films that get their moment in the sun here. But just to focus on some of the night's big narratives you can look at. that Train Dreams is certainly the one sort of crossover, the main crossover between the Oscars and the indie spirits. It's up for 4 nominations: Best Feature, Best Lead Performance for Joel Edgerton, Best Director, and Best Cinematography. And certainly it looks like Best Cinematography has been on a tear there. People are sort of seeing it winning in that category. Do you, Mia, do you have any particular idea, any thoughts for where it might end up at the end of the night with those 4 nominations?
Yeah, I do see a big sweep for Train Dreams at the Independent Spirit Awards. I think this is really, it's a fantastic movie, and I think this is really its award show to kind of shine at. I think, the other one would be If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Obviously, that one's getting Oscar nominations as well, but I could see those two kind of sweeping up the awards at this particular show, because they're both such strong films with a great cast, great director. And I think this is kind of where they're going to really shine this weekend.
Kevin, any Train Dreams thoughts?
I'm glad it will have its day, and I do believe that it will. Like we've talked about before, I think getting into Best Picture was a bit of a victory for a movie of its tone and scale. I'm incredibly happy to see it in Best Picture. I think it's completely deserving. But especially when you look at Joel Edgerton missing out on Best Actor, it does. You do feel like, you see some of these other award shows, and something like the Spirit Awards, you are glad that there are other bodies that are kind of looking at these movies in a slightly different way, through a different lens, and we can reward stuff that's a little lower key that the Oscars may not embrace as fully.
Yeah, I think the Independent Spirit Awards is just a fun show in general. I mean, for so many years it was held on the beach. I remember one year people like big name talent were biking to it, like from the Santa Monica Pier. It was just like so laid back, and you have these like really funny moments. And I encourage you, if you haven't rewatched Adam Sandler accept his Independent Spirit Awards for Uncut Gems after he was kind of snubbed, I guess, by the Oscars. It's really funny, and he even kind of says like the Independent Spirit Awards is like when you win best personality at school but not most popular, and he just kind of has this whole bit about how they're not the popular kids, they're the best personality, and this is such a fun award to get.
That's the big headline of this year's ceremony. It's not going to be taking place inside a tent. It will be inside a building. They are moving to Hollywood, at least for this year. So I spoke to the host, Ego Wodum, and she was very pleased to not be in a tent. So
no chances of sand blowing in and interrupting the ceremony.
It actually would be probably freezing. It's supposed to be raining here this weekend. I think they made a good call for this year. No one wants to be on the beach in freezing cold.
In the rain. Yeah, no, definitely not. The other thing I'm curious to see, obviously Train Dreams is one of the other one that got 4 nominations is Sorry Baby, which didn't wind up factoring into the Oscar race, but it had a great journey from Sundance to now, and so Indie Spirits is kind of its last stop this award season for Eva Victor's movie. So I'm curious to see where it wins. I do think it is going head to head with Train Dreams in Best Picture as well as Best Director. So one of those, speaking of the Sinners one battle head to head, that could also be a case where it wins one category and the other wins in the other, just to make sure that both are represented. And then the other upset, I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I've heard great things about The Plague, which won the DGA award for Best First Feature. So that could potentially be the one that upsets in one of these categories as well. And I keep meaning to catch up with that. And if it wins, I will, because it's certainly the reaction to that one has been very, very positive.
Yeah, I've been really happy just to see how Eva Victor's award season has gone, even if it hasn't, maybe been as successful as they may have hoped. But I think a personal shout out from Julia Roberts on the stage of the Golden Globes is pretty good, and it does feel like the movie was really warmly received, and I think they're going to have an exciting career going forward for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the best screenplay win for Sorry Baby would be appropriate, since it sort of started its journey at Sundance with the screenwriting award there. So if it gets the Spirit for that, that's a nice culmination for Victor, and they can go on. I'm very excited to see what they do next, because I think they're a really talented voice both in front of and behind the camera, and it sounds like they're already working on something. So maybe Julia Roberts can star in it, and then we'll have an actual.
Now we're talking.
Exactly right. The other one I'm rooting for, because I can't help it, my beloved Testament of Ann Lee is up for one award at the Spirit Awards, and that's Best Editing. So I would love for it to leave this award cycle with a statuette, and so the Indie Spirit for Best Editing is where I'm pulling for Ann Lee to testify. We'll see. She's in it. That film's in a category with Warfare, Splitsville, Good Boy, and Ephus, and I've seen 2 out of 3 of those. So I will say that Testament of Ann Lee is the best one, just purely on that rating.
The interesting thing about these awards too is the lead performance isn't actor or actress, right? So you have Rose Byrne in the same category as Joel Edgerton, which is kind of fun to see how that will all play out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a win by Rose Byrne this weekend is great momentum again going into this final stretch of Oscar season, because we all assume Jessie Buckley is the front runner, and most likely is, but Rose Byrne has been out there this whole season matching her for wins. So a win this weekend would be a great wind in the sails as we head closer to the Oscars. All right, well, that's where we stand right now. After a busy week, there's more to come. There'll be more Guild Awards, more openings. I'm glad both of you see Wuthering Heights. We'll have to download our thoughts next week. One thing to keep in mind, if you've both have seen, or if you've ever seen Blue Lagoon, in a way, this is kind of Emerald Fennell's Blue Lagoon. So put a pin in that, and we can talk more about that maybe next week.
I don't even know how to take that. I'm gonna hold on to it and keep it in my back pocket.
Hold space for that in your thoughts while you go see it. But thanks.
Sam Raimi also made his Blue Lagoon this year, so I think we have a trend.
We just need one more. That'll be
the year of Blue Lagoon.
The Ava Victor, Julia Roberts movie will be a Blue Lagoon movie.
Okay, yeah, okay, we got it. Yeah,
we got it.
It's all been figured out within 40 minutes. It's amazing.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks so much for everyone listening in, and we'll be back in your ears and your feeds soon. Until then, take care. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.